Hey, welcome back to our Achievement Hunter series, aimed at pouncing on the Barrens gameplay achievements. Previous guides trapped the achievements for Warrior through Hunter, but this time we're offering some guidance for all 4 of the Druid achievements, including the new one from the Wailing Caverns miniset. Let's get into it.
This should be interesting.
For today's video, we're covering the following 4 Druid achievements. Buy one, get one free of Taunt, ultimately requiring us to copy 50 minions with Plague Maw the Rotting. Puppy Power, the new achievement to play Druid Beasts for 100 less mana than their original cost. Do it for the Vines, expecting us to cast 5 Druid nature spells in a single turn, 25 different times. And the Final Frontier, enticing us to cheat out 5 cards in a single turn, which naturally cost 8 or more. Since none of these requires carving out wins to complete, we can deviate from normal decks when it makes things more interesting or efficient. There will always be timestamps for each achievement and deck codes for each deck mentioned in the description below if you'd like to skip to one you're looking for. Now let's make our mark on these achievements. Let's start simple with the Final Frontier. All we have to do for this one is play 5 cards that naturally cost 8 or more in a single turn. This one was obviously meant to be paired with Celestial Alignment, but there is an alternative method in Wild we'll cover in a minute. We completed this achievement fairly easily with this Celestial Clowns deck from HSReplay before the mini set arrived. It's got your ramp cards alongside a few early game stall tools and 9 cards that cost 8 or more. So it shouldn't be too difficult to get and play 5 of them in a single turn, especially with Malygos pulling 3 of them from your deck with his battle cry. But Lady Anaconda has opened the door to a few new ways to complete this after playing Celestial Alignment. She makes Cenarian Ward cost 0 mana, and quite a few of the ramp and draw cards for Druid are nature spells, allowing you to recover from Celestial Alignment a lot faster. This first version of Celestial Serpents runs 8 cards that are 8 mana or more, and alongside Lady Anaconda, you can pump out a bunch of Serpents with Deviate Dreadfang. And by the way, this deck gains a fair bit of progress towards the Puppy Power achievement we'll look at next. However, the win rate with this version was very low, so I wouldn't recommend it beyond pulling off this achievement. Now, if you prefer to pull this off in Wild, this Celestial Coon deck from HSReplay is sporting a really high win rate of 65.1%. It's got 9 cards that can work towards the achievement, and quite a few options to pair together to take down the opponent. It's not a cheap deck, but it feels good to cycle like mad and drop huge bodies on board one after another. And finally, if you want to come at this without using Celestial Alignment at all, this No Alignment Needed deck uses the traditional Aviana Coon combo to discount minions. And if you have her, Ysel Windsinger will make your ultimate infestation only cost 1 mana as well. There was apparently a bug early on where you wouldn't get credit for the achievement with Aviana, but it was fixed in mid-April's patch according to the notes. This is the most expensive deck to craft, but all the cards except Injured Marauder are from earlier expansions, so longtime Wild players may already have most of the cards. Have fun exploring the Final Frontier, however you decide to get there. We're going ahead and diving into the new achievement from the mini set next. Puppy Power calls on us to play Druid Beasts at a discount. The new card from the mini set which supports this is Fangbound Druid, which would be an amazing card in just about any other class, but it's been too weak to make the cut in Druid meta decks. Fortunately, the discount from Celestial Alignment counts towards this as well, and Living Seed is another way you can get a bit of progress towards this. We completed this achievement with version 2 of our Celestial Serpents deck, which runs all the nature spell synergy cards, Deviate Dreadfang, Lady Anaconda, and even Guff Rune Totem. We've got a highlight video with this deck linked above, which you can check out if you're interested. This deck can actually be used to complete the previous achievement and the 5 nature spells in a single turn achievement we'll cover next as well. And you can make some really cool plays with Deviate Dreadfang and Lady Anaconda, all while buffing your minions with Guff's help. but the win rate of the deck was rather low. So keep that in mind before you craft anything. Guff is probably the first card to cut from the deck if you're looking to improve the win rate. If you want a deck which is more zeroed in on getting swift progress towards this achievement while still being fun, this Celestial Puppy Power deck runs Celestial Alignment and Living Seed. The Living Seed becomes targeted beast draw, which will make the beast it draws cost 0 mana after Celestial Alignment, so it feels pretty good in this deck. And while the beasts summoned off the guardian animals don't count towards the achievement, they will help you cycle through the deck and stay alive long enough to play out several discounted beasts. Of course, if you don't want to use Celestial Alignment and you'd like to use Fangbound Druid, you could try out this Primordial Taunt Beasts deck. We rocked 100% win rate across 5 games with it. All our opponents were hunters and demon hunters, so this was a very small sample size against just 2 classes, but it was still pretty impressive. And the deck is also running Plague Maw, so you can get a bit of progress towards that achievement as well. It's not as quick as using Celestial Alignment, but you should end up with a bit higher win rate than the other decks with this one. Good luck dropping discounted pets onto the board. Now let's move on to the achievement that took a lot longer to knock out than initially expected. Do it for the vines. For this one, you have to cast 5 Druid nature spells in a single turn, 25 times. As someone who prefers to play off-meta decks, working to complete this one before the mini-set felt laborious. But Lady Anacondra makes this a lot more interesting. But first, let's look at a deck that's probably the most efficient and high win rate option for pulling off this achievement. This Nature's Token deck from HSReplay runs plenty of nature spells, which you can chain together fairly efficiently to complete this achievement. However, I did notice that I often had to play suboptimally in order to save 5 nature spells in hand to play together on the same turn. Even so, we had a better than 50% win rate after getting a few turns of progress towards this, so it's likely the strongest option for knocking this out. However, the deck we used to complete this before Lady Anacondra joined the game was this Celestial Miracle deck from HSReplay. The win rate is dismal at around 33%, but it was a lot more fun to play as a swift way to chain together 5 nature spells per turn and draw towards a fun Cthulhu finisher. If you want to update this deck to the newer version, which includes Lady Anacondra, you could just drop the Fungal Fortunes and a Wild Growth for Feral Rages and her. The new version, which runs her, does have a slightly better win rate, but it's still less than 40%. Still, it's nice to have a fun alternate option. Moving over to Wild, there are quite a few more Druid nature spells to choose from. A deck that runs a whopping 17 nature spells, and pretty good cycle to get them, is this Celestial Togwaggle deck from HSReplay. It has the Celestial Alignment and Lady Anacondra combo we've seen in other decks, but instead of Cthulhu as the finisher, we get to fatigue the opponent to death once they've drawn through and played all our nature spells by taking their deck and copying Togwaggle's Ransom with Azalina Soul Thief. This achievement will take a while to complete with whatever deck you use, but at least there are some fun options to choose from. Good luck. And last, but certainly not least, is the Buy One, Get One Free of Taunt achievement. This achievement obviously requires Plague Maw the Rotting to complete. Fortunately, if you don't have him, it is possible to get him from the natural defense bucket in duels. But it'll probably take even longer than it does in ranked to complete it there. Now, this achievement became a lot easier once the Quillboard tag was added to the game, as N'Zoth could bring him back alongside a few taunts of different minion types. One way to get swift progress towards this is to summon multiple copies of Plague Maw, either all at once or across the course of the game. A deck we were excited to do this with, and worked out quite well, was this Teaching N'Zoth Taunt deck. We've got a highlight video linked above showing some of the crazy things you can do with this deck, but the main idea behind the deck was to use Ironbark on N'Zoth to give him Taunt and get an extra copy back in hand from Mark of the Spike Shell. You'll need an Innervate or Lightning Bloom in hand to make it work, but you can summon board after board of taunts with N'Zoth, and Plague Maw can keep getting value if your opponent doesn't just concede. Now, a deck we played in Wild, which got us quite a bit of progress rather quickly, was this Rotting N'Zoth deck from one of our viewers, For I Am King. The dream is to get Greybough and Plague Maw on the board together and start the flood of Greyboughs across the board. Baron Rivendare, Spirit Singer Umbra, and Carnivorous Cube all provide the Death Rattle synergy to keep things rolling. A recommendation from For I Am King was to play Spirit Singer Umbra into Greybough if possible, as that'll make it much more difficult to knock out Greybough. As you can see here, we ended up facing a priest who managed to copy our Plague Maw and Greyboughs, leading to an over 40-minute game and dozens of extra Greyboughs thanks to Plague Maw. If you got the cards, this is a pretty efficient way to knock out the achievement. Enjoy flooding the board with free copies of your Taunt minions. And that's a wrap. If you found this helpful, drop a like. We understand that the nature of the YouTube algorithm is that excellent engagement can lead to wild growth for our channel. If you'd like to help nourish that, likes and comments go a long way. The next guide will cover all 4 achievements for Demon Hunter, and then we'll hunt down all the remainder. There are links in the description to previous guides, and more coming soon, so be sure to check back or subscribe, because we're developing a fungal fortune of fun content. Also, if you have any questions or suggestions, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy participating in experiments live, check out our stream at twitch.tv/SSAlchemist. We currently stream on Saturdays and Sundays. And remember, you're awesome. Thank you for watching, and have an awesome day.
Strength and honor. This is who we are.